Hi everyone, it's Megan Roosevelt, your registered dietitian and the founder of Healthy Grocery Girl. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you how to become a registered dietitian. This is a question that I get asked very frequently, whether it's through email or on social media. And so I'm really excited to share this video with you today, how to become a registered dietitian, also known as an RD or an RDN, which also stands for Registered Dietitian Nutritionist. Before we get into this, what is a registered dietitian? It's important to know all registered dietitians are also nutritionists, but not every nutritionist is a registered dietitian. And that's because nutritionist is a term that has no regulation. Anyone can call themselves a nutritionist. Anyone. But not anyone can call themselves a registered dietitian. It is a degree, it is a certification, you're nationally certified as a registered dietitian. It takes 5 to 6 years of school, you have to sit for an exam. It's very different. And an RD is also different from a health coach or a wellness coach, which is just different. And so just so you know, because some people I find don't even know what a registered dietitian is. And we're nutrition experts. We go to school for a long time to learn a lot about nutrition, and it's a science degree. And now let's talk about how do you become one. So there are 5 steps to becoming a registered dietitian, and I went straight to cdrnet.org to refresh my brain because it's been a little while since I took that exam, went through all my school, became an RD, and I wanted to make sure that I was sharing with you the facts because there are some important words I don't want to get wrong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the 5 steps for you straight from cdrnet.org, and then we're going to chat about each of them a little bit more so I can help you guys out. So let's get to it. There are 5 steps to becoming a registered dietitian. Step number 1 is to complete a bachelor's degree and receive a verification statement from an accredited program. Step number 2 is to get matched at an accredited dietetic internship. Step 3 is to pass the Commission on Dietetic Registration dietetic registration exam. Step 4 is to gain licensure in your state, if applicable. And then step 5 is to maintain continuing education credits. So that sounds maybe a little overwhelming, and so let's dive into it so that I can help you guys out. So back to number 1, you're going to need to complete a Bachelor's of Science in Nutrition and Dietetics, and this does need to be from an accredited undergrad program, an accredited dietetic undergrad program. And I do recommend that cdrnet.org website is a really good resource because they will provide you a list of schools that are accredited. Now, if you already have a Bachelor's of Science, but it's not specifically in nutrition and dietetics, in order to go on further and do your internship and sit for the exam, you will need to go back to school and complete some courses specifically in nutrition and dietetics. And this can take anywhere from 1 to 2 additional years of school. You may be wondering what are some of the classes that you'll be taking in school to become a registered dietitian. Well, when you go through the traditional Bachelor's of Science degree program, it's typically, like any degree, you're going to go for about 4 years. Your first 2 years are going to be more basic science classes, your first 2 years. So those will be your anatomy and physiology. You will also do chemistry classes, a lot of very science-based classes. Your last 2 years of your undergrad program will be taking classes that are more specific to dietetics. So this will be your medical nutritional therapy classes, macro and micronutrient metabolism. You'll also take a course most likely on counseling, more nutrition kind of specific classes. So once you complete your 4 years of school to get your bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics, or if you went back to school and you're completing some additional classes to get your bachelor's degree in nutrition and dietetics, you're not done yet. The next step is to complete your dietetic internship. So the internship process is typically about 1 year, it can be up to 2 years, and this is the phase where you take all that brain knowledge and book knowledge that you've learned over the past 4 years and you get to apply it in real life setting. And it's actually just a really amazing and fantastic part of the RD process, because even though you know so much information, it changes everything and helps it all really click and sync together to be able to really apply it in real life. So it's a really important part of the dietetic process. And what's also great about it is you get to work in a variety of different dietetic settings. And so it really helps you explore and understand what area of dietetics you may want to go into, because while you're in school, it's really easy to have the idea of what sounds great, but until you're actually out there working in that field, you won't really know if that's going to be the best position for you. And so internships are just so fantastic. Now, the internship process is very competitive. I believe the current acceptance rate is about 50%. And so to apply for your internship, it's similar to applying for a university. You'll complete, I think, a letter. You'll have to submit a bunch of paperwork. I'll put links below with more information on, the steps to go through to complete your dietetic internship and to apply for your dietetic internship. But basically, you pick schools that you want to apply to. A lot of times internships are through a university. And then you apply for, usually it's good to apply for more than one, because what you do is you'll get matched. So you kind of have your top choice of your internship that you would like to go to, and then a second and third choice. And then if you don't get your top choice, you'll get kind of bumped down to maybe your second or third choice if they do accept you. But so you apply for your internship, you submit your information, and then there's match day. So all dietitians that are watching this know match day. I believe at midnight is when all the information goes up. So you can't even sleep the night before, because they put it up online. You get to log in and look at your information and see who accepted me, what internship am I going to, and it's just really exciting. And so that's the next step, is applying for your internship. Now, once you get into an internship is 1,200 hours of supervised practice. And what you do is you complete practice hours in a variety of different dietetic settings. So some of those settings include clinical, which will be working in a hospital, outpatient. You may also be working in public health. You may be working at WIC, or maybe a dialysis center, food service systems management, which could be working in the school district. So you get to work in a bunch of different settings. Now, I say work because you will be working 40 hours a week on average. You are working basically as a dietitian that's supervised, even though you're not really a dietitian yet because you haven't taken your exam, but you're pretty much there. So you're working in the dietetic field, but it's not paid. So that's something to keep in mind, is you do want to financially prepare for this next phase of school, because at this point you're in school now for about 5 years, and depending on the internship that you apply to, because some internships are also a dual master's program. So if you also want to get your master's degree of science and nutrition, or some type of variation of that, sometimes that may be one or an additional maybe 2 years of school. So you're looking at about 5 to 6 years of school to become a registered dietitian. So once you complete all 1,200 hours of your dietetic internship, you're so close, but you're still not there yet. Now it's time to take the exam. The dietetic exam, it's a pretty big test. So I recommend studying for at least 2 to 3 months. That's what worked for me. Some people are super smart and they can study in a month and be good to go. But if you don't pass on the first time, you have to wait a bit before you can take the test again. So I recommend being really prepared. So take about 2 to 3 months after you have finished your internship to then take the exam. And what I recommend is scheduling your exam. And then you can go backwards, because that will help you plan your studying, because you can look at all of the information that you need to study, and you can see how many days you have until you're going to take that test, and you can get really organized on what you're going to study on each day. Now, the test is going to test you on everything that you've learned up until that point. So for the past 5 to 6 years of school, from your bachelor's degree, things in your internship, that's the point. You're going to be tested on all of it. It's a really big test. I'm not a good test taker, so it was really scary for me. But if you study, you can totally do it. You can totally pass. Now, I personally use the Jean Inman study guide. I'll put the link below if you guys want to check that out. But I really liked it because it was a combination of audio and also text information. So what I would do is I would listen and I would read the information as I was listening. It also provided study practice tests as part of the study guide, which I really liked. I did those practice tests over and over and over again. And this study guide was recommended to me by other dietitians who had passed before me, and I was wondering, what's a good study guide? I don't know which one to get. And that's what was recommended to me. That's what I use, and it helped me pass my exam. This study guide is about $385. And so speaking of finances, we'll talk about that pretty quick. Your undergrad program, just like any university, is going to cost you money, huge scale of what that could possibly be, depending on where you go to school. Your internship is also going to cost you money. And then your study guide is going to cost you money. And then to sit for your dietetic exam, that will also cost you some money. So about $250 to take that exam. So just like any, health expert, health professional, you're investing a lot of years, you're investing a lot of your finances to become this true medical and health expert. But it's totally worth it, I promise. So after you take the exam, and you get to know right away if you've passed your RD exam or not, because it pops up and it says, congratulations, you've passed. And that is just the best feeling in the world, because you've invested so many years of your life, probably so many tears, moments on the phone with your parents, your mom, your dad, your friends. I can't do it. It's hard. It's such an emotional roller coaster, and anyone that's gone through that process has experienced those emotions. You know what I mean? So when you get to that point where you pass your RD exam, it is just the best feeling in the world. But you're still not done quite yet, because like I said, you also need to become licensed in your state, and this is usually filling out an application and paying a yearly licensing fee to be licensed to practice as a dietitian in your state. Not every state requires licensure, but you do need to look into that to see if your state requires that. And then after that, you need to complete continuing education credits. So every 5 years as dietitians, we are required to complete 75 CEUs, or continuing education credits, to stay present and relevant in research studies and what's going on in our field, all of that information. So you can't just take the exam and then keep doing your thing years and years and years and not stay up to date with what's going on, because it is a science-based degree and science is changing and research studies and all of that. So you got to do your continuing education credits as well. So this was just an overview. I know this wasn't the most in-depth video, because there is a lot of already really great information online that's going to help you probably even more than this video, but I wanted to give just an overview of the steps that are required, and I'm going to put a bunch of links below this video that are going to help you guys click, connect, and if you have any questions, you can leave a comment below and I will answer them for you. So quickly now, let's talk about jobs. So after you become a registered dietitian, yay, woohoo, you're an RD, now it's time to get a job. So where do RDs work? So I made a little list here. I'm a big list maker, because if I don't write it down, it's very hard for me to remember. So I made a little list of possible places that you could work once you become a registered dietitian. First of all, most RDs work in clinical settings, work in a hospital. You can also work in outpatient. Maybe that's an outpatient facility at a hospital or a rehabilitation center. I don't know why that was so hard to say, especially since I worked at a rehabilitation center as one of my first jobs. You can also work at a dialysis clinic. You can work for WIC or a Head Start program. You can work in a school district. You can also be a supermarket registered dietitian. So there's lots of supermarket chains now hiring RDs. You can also, if you have your master's or your PhD, you could also teach nutrition at a university. Now, some other less common but also options for RDs is you can open your own private practice, you could work for a private practice, you could work in media communications, you can also be an entrepreneur and just start your own thing, which is what I did. And so those are just a few options. There's actually quite a bit of options for work as a registered dietitian. And you can also work at a gym or a health facility. I didn't mention that one. But there's lots of options for you. It just really depends on where do you thrive best as an RD? Do you like the clinical? Do you like the science-based side of it? Are you more creative? Do you want to work more one-on-one with people and maybe be more in kind of a public health setting? Maybe you want to be more in like a WIC environment and work with moms and their children. So part of going through your internship process will really help you figure out what areas you're going to love the most and that you're going to want to explore as a dietitian. Now, speaking of jobs, there's a follow-up to this video. Video number 2, I'm going to be sharing with you my personal story of going through the process, my kind of career process, becoming a registered dietitian. This video is going to be just kind of much more casual. I'm just going to chat with you guys, and also kind of how I got to the point of deciding to start my own business, which is Healthy Grocery Girl. So if you want to watch that video, I'll also put the link below. Basically, if you have any questions and you want more information, always look in the description box below. That's where there's going to be some links. So I think that's all the information that I wanted to share with you guys today. Like I said, go to cdrnet.org. It's a great website to get more information. Links will be below, but that's just an overview on how to become a registered dietitian. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, thank you for subscribing. I'm Megan Roosevelt, your registered dietitian and the founder of Healthy Grocery Girl, and I will see you guys in the next video.